Good afternoon and welcome to Griffith News. I'm Kat and this is Ben. In our stories today, K-Rudd makes an appearance in the neighbourhood. Also, controversy over a new Woolworths opening up in Burleigh. We've got plenty lined up for you, so let's get straight into it.
Kevin Rudd made an appearance at Tweed Heads today, raising questions over his motives and whether he was there to repay favours to Richmond MP Justine Elliott. Madeline Marshall investigates.
Baby boomers were out in full force today as Labor rock star Kevin Rudd greeted 200 local residents at a Benora Point community centre.
Mr Rudd has shown his support for Miss Elliott, who will have to fight to retain her federal seat after the Nationals this week signalled their intention to steal it back at the next election. Mr Rudd dismissed talk that he was only here to repay favours to Miss Elliott, who backed Rudd solidly during the party's bloody leadership battle in February.
Any local member who asks me to come out and work for them, I have done and I will continue to do so, whether they have voted for me in recent caucus ballots or whether they haven't.
Regardless of his reasons for doing the launches, yesterday showed Mr Rudd remained popular in Tweed Heads.
Madeline Marshall, Griffith News Now.
Thanks for that report. Good afternoon, I'm Dale and here are the latest headlines. Parklands will be home for over 6,500 Commonwealth Games athletes in 2018, with the construction of a $700 million athletes village to go ahead. Despite mounting pressure for the village to be moved to Southport CBD, the village will be built next to Griffith University and will later be sold to provide affordable accommodation for students. A New South Wales bus driver who kicked a 15-year-old schoolboy off a school bus 75 kilometres from his home has been stripped of his authority to drive. The boy, who was caught mooning at another bus, had to walk a great distance in the rain before he could get a mobile phone signal to contact his parents. The inquiries into the case found the driver also threatened to break another student's arm and drove while using a mobile phone, deeming him inept to drive a school bus. A grandmother has been found legibly liable for her granddaughter's head injuries after falling downstairs while carrying the 5-month-old at a holiday home in the mid-north coast. The 5-month-old's father successfully sued on his daughter's behalf on the grounds her grandmother failed to exercise reasonable care while carrying her. Overseas, a British man who placed antipsychotic drugs inside empty packets of Nurofen Plus in order to supply his own codeine habit has saved himself a mere £7, costing the manufacturer $2.5 million. A UK-wide recall of the product was forced after several batches of Nurofen Plus were found containing the powerful drug, sparking fears that thousands of packets could contain the wrong drug. The man was jailed for 18 months. In other news, Australian King of Pop, Godier, takes out top international artists at the 2012 Afro Music Awards by winning both Songwriter of the Year award and Song of the Year for his hit Somebody That I Used to Know. The hit topped 23 national charts around the world, with a 6th straight week in the US, clocking up more than 200 million views on YouTube. Back in our local area, retailers are angry that a second Woolworths is scheduled for development in Burleigh Heads. Here is Mark with more.
Despite fierce opposition, Park Avenue in Burleigh Heads will be the home of a new Woolworths supermarket. Angry locals raised many issues with the council-approved proposal, including parking, increased traffic, loading areas, and a potential rent increase, which would be bad news for existing boutiques. However, local councillor Greg Betts assures that much of the anger and opposition stems from a lack of knowledge and understanding.
The general public have only discovered what they've seen probably once or twice.
Concerned local Sharon Payne insists that there was no lack of knowledge and that residents went ahead and did their own research into what was being proposed.
I think there was a lot of research done about this development, and there is a lot of understanding about how the size of it, but also the understanding comes from the information that we got.
Park Avenue parking is already an issue, and locals fear a Woolworths may only make matters worse.
It seems that the parking really is going to be insufficient for that area and insufficient for the building that's going in there.
For Woolworths specifically, they've met the car parking requirements.
The Woolworths development will be going ahead, and Councillor Greg Betts has a simple message for those unhappy with the decision.
Don't shop there. You know, it's as simple as that. If you don't like it, don't use it, and then it'll go broke and you'll be happy.
It's really tough to beat such a large supermarket chain. They just have so much money behind them.
Yeah, it is, but it's happening everywhere these days. You know, they're popping up everywhere. The little guy's going to survive. I think the locals are more worried about the parking issues.
Speaking of parking, as you heard before, the Commonwealth Games, the accommodation was set to go into parklands, and there's been a lot of debate about this. Premier Campbell Newman has proposed that the 2018 Commonwealth Games Athletes Village now be built in the Southport CBD.
Since the Gold Coast won the 2018 Commonwealth Games bid last November, there has been much debate over where the Athletes Village will be built. Previous plans saw the village being built at Parkland Showgrounds, but the new proposal suggests the current Gold Coast Hospital, closing next year, would be a more suitable site. Southport MP Rob Mullock supports the idea of using the Commonwealth Games to rejuvenate Southport.
As the local member, I will be strongly arguing the case to save Parklands. I am really heartened the Premier recognises the Southport CBD needs some attention, and I agree that the Commonwealth Games provides a unique opportunity to get some action in the area.
Gold Coast Hospital Steering Committee member and Southport Chamber of Commerce Deputy President Brian Sawyer says that his proposal is not just a short-term solution to revitalise Southport.
After the Games, any units would be sold off to try and recoup some costs of the construction.
Southport Councillor Dawn Critchlow says Parkland should be left as is, not just because it's the only area for flood evacuation on the Gold Coast, but it will also affect university students.
The Parklands Trust get $1 million a year out of parking. The students parking there, what will happen there? There's nowhere else for the students to park. So there's many reasons for keeping Parklands as it is.
With local and state government in favour of the idea, this hospital site in the heart of Southport could become the Athletes Village for the 2018 Commonwealth Games. With 6 years to go until the event begins, plans are already underway. Madeline Sabota, Griffith News.
Good afternoon, I'm Lauren with today's sport. Kristen Inu has started his Canterbury Bankstown career with a bang, inspiring his new club to a 30-12 victory over the Sydney Roosters in Monday night's NRL clash. Inu left his mark on the game, scoring 2 tries, setting up the third and kicking 3 goals, ensuring the Roosters slumped to their 3rd consecutive loss. Aussie Bernard Tomic has sailed through to the 2nd round of the French Open, but it wasn't good news for his compatriot Leighton Hewitt. Hewitt succumbed to Slovenian qualifier Vlad Kavic in the first competitive outing since undergoing foot surgery in February. Aussie Mark Webber has become the most in-demand Formula 1 driver after his stunning win in Monaco on Sunday night, making the first Australian to win the famous Grand Prix twice. On an annual deal with Red Bull Racing, reports Webber is switching to Ferrari are gaining momentum. The Australian went out of his way to embrace Fernando Alonso, the man reported to be his teammate following his emphatic victory. Webber catapulted himself firmly into contention for this season's F1 world title with his 8th victory of his career and a 2nd around Monaco. And that's today's sport, guys.
Thanks, Lauren. In other news, a Big Brother type technology will be introduced this June by police in a bid to track the number of partygoers hitting the Surfers Paradise precinct. Lisa Maloney has the full story.
Soon, just being in Surfers will mean that you're being tracked. Individual signifiers from your mobile will be picked up by 12 listening posts that will line our streets. And your phone doesn't even have to be switched on. But police say the new technology will not interfere with people's privacy.
Police won't have access to that material, and that's solely a statistical collation of numbers within Surfers Paradise.
Visitor numbers will be monitored as Surfers Paradise Alliance aims to increase foot traffic to the area. The initiative was presented to city leaders today as part of a visionary blueprint for Surfers Paradise. It was here a new campaign was unveiled to restore the city's tarnished image and prove the area is safe.
Look, the whole thing about the campaign is really about, reinvigorating and rejuvenating the area.
But in an unexpected turn, focus will be on the city's nightlife. It comes after a new study shows the nightclub sector is worth an annual $3.5 billion to the economy. And it's been proposed waiving club entry fees will be the key to drawing in the crowd. But Gold Coast locals are concerned that free nightclub entry will bring more crime and more drunken behaviour to the Gold Coast precinct. They'd rather see the money go towards infrastructure and daytime activities.
I think we'll always have antisocial problems because we're always going to have a misuse of alcohol. and I don't think it matters where you are in the world, you're going to have those issues.
Lisa Maloney, Griffith News.
Yeah, I'm not too keen on that. Getting tracked around surfers, it just doesn't seem right.
No, it seems like a bit of an invasion of privacy. The free nightclub entry though, I'm definitely all for that, and I'm sure all the other uni students out there can also live with free nightclub entry.
Yeah, I'm definitely keen on that one. Now for weather with Lisa.
Thanks guys. Well, the chilly weather has well and truly kicked in now, and it doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon. We saw a mostly fine day across most of the Gold Coast with scattered showers along the coastal areas. It was mostly fine inland, with only isolated afternoon showers developing. We had a maximum of 21 degrees today over most of the southeast region, but it will drop to a very cool 12 degrees this evening. So what do we have to look for this week? Well, tomorrow we can see the sun trying to come through with possible showers in the afternoon. It will still be cool with a maximum of 22 degrees. Unfortunately, it's looking like another wet week on the coast with showers, and more showers right through until early next week. So careful on the roads, invest in a good brolly and prepare yourselves for a cold front. Now it's over to the girls on the beach for the wrap on today's surf conditions.
Today we've seen a southeast swell of around 2 foot, reaching 3 foot on the Tweed coast and far northern ends of the Gold Coast. The winds are fresh southerly now and are forecast for strong south-southeast later. Tweed Coast, D-Bar and South Stradbroke Island are picking up more size. With small fun ones on the Gold Coast points today, water temperatures are reaching 23 degrees. So come on Gold Coasters, get out there and seize the day. You'll surely have a swell time. Back to you guys.
Looks a bit choppy out there.
It does. I'm sure all those keen surfers will still be out there though.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. But on to our next story. Koalas are a huge part of Australia's culture, and with numbers rapidly depleting, our national icon needs protecting. Here is Kanchan with the full story.
I am surrounded by the natural habitat of the Australians' iconic koala, the beautiful eucalyptus trees. With the population of the koalas going down every year, it is not a shock to know that they have been listed as a threatened species in Queensland earlier this month. Liberal National Party member for Currumbin, Jan Stuckey, has said she will be fighting strongly for Currumbin Wildlife Hospital to share in the Liberals' funding commitment to koala rescue and rehabilitation. Ms. Stuckey was unavailable for comment but issued a press release stating her full support for the $26.5 million comprehensive action plan for protecting Queensland koalas. Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary Hospital representative Daniel McStay hopes the sanctuary will receive some of the government funding, which would be a first for the non-profit organisation.
With the correct funding and allocation of funds towards the Wildlife Hospital, especially for koalas, we'd see an increase in rehabilitation for both the animals, in surgery and the correct instruments and tools, x-ray machines needed to assess and treat the animals, as well as the correct care needed to get those animals back out into the wildlife where ultimately we're trying to reintroduce them to their natural habitat.
I am Kanchan Khanna reporting from Griffith University News.
Oh, it's always hard for the koalas.
Yeah, they do get a rough time, but that's enough from us now. I'm Ben Jaffrey.
I'm Catherine Jeffrey.
This is Griffith News Now. Thanks.